we become so fixated on those aspects of our own identity that separate us that we risk being able to maintain the system that allowed us the privilege of celebrating. And this is something I find very disconcerting.
Colorado Representative Tom Tancredo spoke at AU Tuesday evening, hosted by the group Students for Western Civilization. He presented his viewpoints on immigration and the need for immigrants to better assimilate into Western culture. His views have often been deemed as controversial and were therefore met with an abundance of opposition from AU students.
We have issue with the statements regarding multiculturalism, regarding Muslims and terrorism. In general, his everything he stands for stands against what we stand for. America's multicultural, we are multicultural, and we want to make it known that we oppose his viewpoints.
Protesters gathered outside of Ward 1 an hour before the event, all dressed in black with signs protesting Tancredo's views against multiculturalism that they held up during his speech.
I have an issue with the language that he uses, the words of hate that have an influence upon many Americans who can link such rhetoric to inducing hate crimes. I mean, it's not fair. It's not conducive to a safe campus climate. The words that he says affect students on campus, Latino students, undocumented immigrants, African Americans. We are offended by the language. We're offended by the Youth for Western Civilization group and what they stand for, and we decided that it was time to act against it.
Former Representative Tom Tancredo said he welcomed student opposition openly and was open to hearing everyone's voice. He also commented on students' protest signs, calling them more intellectual than the one he has seen at other universities.
My main problem is just that he says that he's against immigration mostly, where the majority of Americans are, in some sense, immigrants or the descendants of immigrants.
And that exact point was raised when a question regarding Native Americans was asked. The question rose the viewpoint that technically Native Americans inhabited this country first. So if Tancredo's method toward assimilation were implemented, wouldn't it be Western culture that would have to adapt to Native American culture? His response caused perhaps the largest student uproar of the evening.
It was a tribalistic society, and they were divided up, and that's what I'm hoping we don't do.
Answer the question, please.
Well, should they have succumbed to it? Well, you know, I'll tell you what, the more successful culture will win. And it is.
Members of the Western Civilization group, on the other hand, responded well to Tancredo's methods of response.
I think it's great. I think everyone should be openly asked in an open society, and I think it's great to have exchange of ideas in a safe, free environment.
And during the question segment of the program, Tancredo expressed that he is not against diversity in America, but rather diversity as a definition for America. In response to that, student protesters raised their signs even higher and protested even louder, suggesting that peace between the two groups is still far from reach. For ATV News, this has been Nicki DeMarco.